Hello and welcome to ORL Tier 1 Round 6. And we are here at Emilia for this weekend Tier 1 action. I'm your host, JMan075, and it is an absolute pleasure to be back in the commentary box for the first time this season. And we've got a full Tier 1 grid out there today, and it's sure to be a very, very interesting afternoon of racing. So, let's get a rundown on the season so far. I'll give everyone some things to look out for today. Imola also one of the more interesting tracks on the calendar, so I'm looking forward to seeing how some of the drivers go. Very short track. Pretty much one major overtaking zone, which is down into turn 1, which is where Guga's approaching at the moment. And besides that, it's going to be an interesting strategy battle between the drivers, and qualifying is going to be absolutely critical, as it is on many of the tracks nowadays, but particularly here in Imola. And we're going to have a look at the standings now just quickly. And Trent Newton in the Ferrari at the moment is absolutely dominating this season. Well, not dominating. He's got 2 wins, but even though he's only got 2 wins, he's 45 points clear of Keithy in second. So could this be the season for Trent Newton? He's been close in the last couple of seasons, but he's really broken through now. And this could be his big opportunity to take a title, but there are a number of contenders fighting. So below that, it's actually very close in the battle for second. Keithy on 59 points. Piastri Goat reigning champ on 57 points. Back in the Aston Martin after starting the season in the McLaren. Aiden in the other Mercedes, 54 points. And then Mahavir, who has won 2 from 2 races in the last 2 weeks, has already crept up to 50 points. So similarly to last season, it looks like it's going to be the great chase between Mahavir and the drivers in front. So we'll see how that turns out, as Danger, who goes into McLaren. There was a seat swap a couple of weeks ago between Danger and Piastri Goat. So Danger now in that McLaren team, and Piastri Goat returning to Aston Martin, where he won his championship last season. In the meantime, the laps are coming in thick and fast. Grateful Dog with a 1:14.2 in the Haas once again this season. And Danger currently 7th in the standings, tied with Dr. Zed Rift in the Ferrari at the moment. And that Ferrari team is leading the constructors, largely thanks to Trent Newton, but a good little contribution from Rift as well, who is in his first ORL season. But the constructors battle a bit closer. The wins shared, 2 for Ferrari, 2 for Mercedes, 2 for Haas. And Ferrari 138 points, Mercedes 113, and Haas 102. So those are the early battles that are forming as we've nearly hit the halfway mark in this season. Let's see what kind of lap time Danger has got up to here. It's a 1:14.3. Piastri Goat, while I wasn't paying attention, has set a 1:14.0. Very impressive. And we'll see if we can catch anyone else on a lap here, as those lap times will steadily improve as the session goes on. Weather looks absolutely pristine out there on the track. Perfect dry running conditions. And Aiden, who's proven to be a bit of a contender this season, is on a lap right now. So we'll see what kind of time he can set. Tricky middle sector it is at Imola, but he's handled it pretty well. And now through this chicane, doesn't take much curb at all there. So the curbs are another thing about Imola that are very unique to this track, and it's quite a different driving experience to some of the other tracks on the calendar, as Aiden nails that final corner, and he comes out now with a 1:14.6 up to P4, very respectable. A bit of a gap between the field at the moment, 1.8 seconds separating the top 10. What about Trent Newton, the championship leader? Looking very stable, that Ferrari at the moment, as he rounds that final corner. Comes to the line, and it's a 1:14.9, so not the quickest banker lap for the Ferrari there. Welcome to everyone that's come along to the stream as well. Great to have you. As Websy, and I haven't mentioned Websy yet, but he's just set a absolute ripper of a lap time, 1:13.6, 5/10 clear of Piastri Goat, and Websy reserving. And Mahavir goes 1:13.9. Websy reserving for Red Bull tonight. This is his first race of the season. And I think he's going to come in as a heavy favourite because of his immense speed. OFI competitor. So one to watch out for. He's going to be providing a great challenge to the other drivers in the field. And we'll see if we can catch anyone on a lap here. Looks like most of the drivers are coming into the pits. Wicked Moist, though, pushing hard, though, in the Alpine. So we'll see what kind of time they can set. The slowest time of the field so far, but that wasn't a genuine attempt, though, that first one. And this is looking pretty decent so far from the Alpine. If he can get the job done here, 5 seconds up on his Delta. And now this tricky little finishing corners here. And you can see the car wants to go wide, but Wicked Moist just keeps it in there. And he's gone into P7 with a 1:14.8. Very solid indeed. For all the Alpine team that are doing pretty decently this season. They've got a brand new driver lineup. Both drivers new to the league in Jet Saragi and Wicked Moist. Doing a pretty good job as well. Drivers coming out for their second run, so a couple are going to go for 3 this afternoon in the qualifying session. And that's Piastri Goat and Grateful Dog, the first to do so. Looking to break into the 1:13s. Looks to be the benchmark for qualifying today. And as always, remember to chuck in your predictions in the stream chat. We'll see who's going to be the one on the top step today. Websy is my personal favourite at this stage based on the current pace that he's setting. I believe that was Globdrip moving his way into P7 there. The 1:14.7 as well. A few drivers that haven't set their lap times yet about to do so. Keithy is one of those, but we'll keep on board with Piastri Goat for now, who is warming up for his second attempt here. He's got 4 tenths to make up on Websy, and we'll follow him all the way through his hot lap here as he makes his way down the one and only straight on this track. And DRS is open, using a bit of battery there, and goes into the Tamarillo chicane now. And can take that very quickly, and he does so. Keeps it inside the track limits, which are an issue here at Imola for a lot of the drivers. And he, speaking of, I have cursed him. And he has just gone outside the track limits there, which is unfortunate for Piastri Goat. So we'll swiftly move on to Grateful Dog, who's a little bit further ahead in the lap. And we'll see what kind of time he can put up. He's got 6 tenths to pole, and that's a 3-tenth improvement. That puts him in the 1:13s for now if he can take it all the way to the end. And he was very close to the line, and he must have been right on the line, but stays valid. Now, the double left-hander to end off the lap. Can he keep it inside track limits? He can, only just really riding the fine line there, and this is a good lap. He did lose a bit of time there in that last sector though. A 1:14.0, but not as fast as Piastri Goats. What about Mahavir now? Flying down that main straight as well. You can see how close he's getting to the line there, and just keeping it in, getting every little bit of slipstream he can from his teammate there. And wow, that is absolutely hooked to the track from Mahavir. That's a tenth and a bit up That was absolute precision, that first sector. That is absolutely how to do it from the Haas driver. Let's see if he can continue it now. And this is a bit tricky, that uphill section there. But he's handled it pretty well. Up 2/10 now. He's going to need a little bit over 3/10 to get to Websy here. So it's going to need to be a good final sector. It's not a long sector. So he's going to need to put it together pretty quickly here. And he's done all right there. Going as wide as he possibly can to the line. And now, let's see what kind of time it's going to be. It's going to be the fastest lap by just over a tenth. That is a ripping lap. And watching that on board was just fantastic to see. Just flicking the car through those corners, especially that first sector. That was hooked up to perfection. Yeah, what a lap from Mahavir. And Websy's got some work cut out for him now. But in the meantime, Danger has some good improvement here. 2.5 tenths, not quite to the speed of Mahavir. But we do know Danger from previous seasons in his histories is a good qualifier, so you can never rule him out. And taking a bit of a tighter line than some of the other drivers is Danger, but it's going to work for him, and it's going to be the fastest lap. What a final sector from Danger. All of a sudden, we have got game on here in qualifying. Websy's first lap just blew everyone out of the water, but Danger and Mahavir have both responded with ripping lap times, and Websy goes around on his fast lap, trying to gain a bit of extra time. And that is not Websy's best moment there. But this is getting really competitive here. 2 tenths between the top four, and then a big gap. So these four drivers clearly setting the standard. In the meantime, Trent Newton's a little bit lower down. Keithy and Aiden as well, who would expect to be a bit further up the field. Have not been able to do so yet. Don't believe Rift is on a fast lap at the moment. He's not. And we'll see if anyone else is on the lap. Wicked Moist come into the line once again. And goes back up to P6. That's a good lap. That's a 7/10 improvement. 1:14.1. So a bit of track evolution now. Starting to make itself evident. And what about Mikey now? Currently on a 15.1. Going to get a little bit of slipstream here from the Red Bull ahead. Oh, he nearly spins into him. That could have been close. And that was very, very lucky indeed. In fact, that was the RB of Globdrip there. Mikey just avoids it. And I don't think lost any time from it. Now, oh, slide out of the final corner. Is that going to cost him as he comes to the line? Still pretty good. Still very good. 1:14.2. Gee, he could have even had an extra tenth or so if he avoided that slide at the end. So that's a very solid lap, and a lot of drivers improving significantly here. The field has tightened up quite a bit. Globdrip might be on a run here. 3 minutes left in the session, so pretty much everyone is coming into the pits now. Not sure if Mikey is going to have enough time or not. We'll wait and see on that. Globdrip with a slight improvement, but a huge slide, and that surely is going to put an end to his chances of improving, and yeah, he's going to back out of that one. I wonder if he's got enough time to come into the pits and come back out quickly. It's going to be Keithy. He's going to be the first driver out of the pits to start their final run. He's down in P9. Not where he'd want to be at this stage in qualifying. But as I said, this has been a very competitive qualifying session. We've seen some ripping laps. But yeah, Keithy and Trent 1 and 2 in the championship. Only 11th and 9th on the track at the moment. So this could be a bit of pressure from behind if this trend continues. Trent Newton's gonna have to find over a second, and Keithy 9 tenths. to get up to pole position as drivers start streaming out of the pits. Hopefully Keith doesn't run into him. Or is he potentially going to be on 2 fast laps? Let's see. It looks like he's going for it. And Keithy now making his way down the straight for his final run, and he's got some work to do. He's going to have to push hard, but also he needs to make sure the lap is valid. And it's looked pretty decent so far. We'll go to the off-board, and you can see just how fast that car is moving. And Mikey retires, I believe that was in the pits. No chance to get back out on the track in time, so P7 will be his best. Keithy now takes a bit of grass there and off the track. And could that be a costly moment for Keithy? Will he have enough time to get around again? Mahavi has also invalidated his lap. Does he have enough time to get around? Is that Keithy? Is that Keithy spun around there? No, that's the other Mercedes of Aiden. So lots of things going on the track at the moment. But we're going to have a look at some of the leaders here. Who's closest? We'll go with Websy. Websy's final run here. A 10.5 behind Danger. It's going to need to be a good improvement. And Websy now kicks off as the session is starting to wind down. A few drivers have made errors already on their final runs. Let's see if Websy can be the one to hold it together. And, oh, he just keeps it on. But it was a bit scrappy through there. Let's see how he looks here through the first sector. He's up. This is not good for Websy. 1.5 tenths. He's going to need to find a lot of time towards the back end of this lap. He's going to need close to a miracle here. Aiden has finished and he's invalidated as Websy. So no better than P3. A lot of drivers suddenly starting to slip up here late in this session. JT is P10. Grateful Dog P5. And Trent P10. And Keithy, he's going to be no higher than P9. So a lot of drivers starting out of position in this race. What about Mahavir though? Can he snatch that pole back? He's not improving through the middle sector. He's going to have to really hook it up here right at the end if he wants to get past Danger. What can he do? Mahavir, as he comes to the final corners, that didn't look great. But let's see, Danger didn't improve on his time. Can Mahavir take it back? No, he's pulling into the pits. Piastri Goat spun around, and I think that's going to mean that Danger will be on pole. Yes, Danger on pole with his second run, and what an incredible lap it was, and well done for Danger. That is unbelievable effort. Mahavir P2. No one was able to improve on those final runs there. No one in the top 4. It stayed exactly the same. And Grateful Dog is going to finish P5 as well. But yeah, what an interesting qualifying session. It really ramped up in the middle. And then at the end, no one was able to hook their lap times up. But this is going to make for a very interesting race. All right, so there's your order. Danger is going to start this race on pole, but he's got Mahavir, Websy, and Piastri Goat to fend off behind him. That is going to be no easy task. And then rounding out the top 10, Grateful Dog, Wicked Moist, Mikey, Keith, Clammy Kid, and Legum. Outside the top 10, crucially, championship leader Trent. And Aiden as well, and Dr. Rift, Dr. Z Rift. They've got some work to do in the race here on a track that is not easy to overtake on, but it is possible, especially down that main straight. You can move through the field. but it is a long way to go for Trent if he wants to extend that championship lead today. So an opportunity has come up for some of these drivers who are looking to improve their positions. So let's see if they can get it done. All right, here we go. Round 6, Tier 1 at Emilia is underway. And danger off at the decent start. There's a spin right off the bat. Off the line there was a Red Bull of Clammy Kid, and he's out of the race. And there's a huge pile up at the back, and that should be an instant safety car. And there's a 10-second penalty, and Trent Newton involved with that as well. I saw a V-carb spin around, and that is a full safety car. We didn't even make it to turn 1 there. And wow, that is a 10-second for Globdrip, which I believe was a bit stiff. And he's going to retire from the race there. But a shocking start as Clammy Kid just spun it off the line there. We'll see if there's any other damage. Aiden is missing an end plate. Trent Newton missing his front wing crucially. But wow, that is drama off the start there. And a huge pile up at the back. That means Danger's able to preserve that lead. And I think that's the other Ferrari with no front wing either. And an Alpine with no front wing as well. So PS Bomber doesn't have either end plate. Jet Saragi doesn't have a front wing. I think almost everyone below 10th has got damage here. Yep, so that's JT Uzi with no front wing, with no end plate either. Wow. I don't really know what to make of that, to be honest. I'll be interested to see the individual footage from that. I'm sure it'll be brought up in a ticket. Yep, so pretty much everyone coming into the pits now. Legum, Jet Saragi, PS Bomber, Aiden, and both the Ferraris. So Trent is probably going to fall right to the back here. And we've already had 2 retirements from this race before turn 1. And this is going to have big ramifications for the championship here. I believe, from what I'm seeing, it was Mikey's fault. He might have stalled off the line there. But yeah, that is a big moment. But yep, safety car is out, and Danger is holding that lead. We'll have a quick look at the tyre situation while we've got a bit of time. So I think everyone was starting on the mediums. Now all those drivers that received damage have pitted and gone onto the hards, which can go a fair way. So there might be a few ambitious drivers that try and hang it out to the end, but it is going to be a long way. And we'll have a look at the position changes as well, because the order's been shaken up quite a bit. And Blackia has gone up from last to 10th, but because of that drama. And Karubi. So the Saubers have really benefited from this carnage at the start. Jet Saragi up 4, PS Bomber up 5. Obviously biggest losers there, Trent, JT Uzi, I think. And Aiden's gone down a couple spots as well. So the Ferraris have some work to do, the championship leaders. But this is looking like a good day for Haas at the moment. McLaren have the driver in the lead, in danger. But Haas second and fourth at the moment. Yeah, all things considered, the orders hasn't changed a great deal from the start. Most of the back drivers got affected by that. And I think, hopefully, the safety car should be in this lap if Trent can catch up in time. Yeah, Grateful Dog made up a position on Oscar Piastri. That must have been right off the bat because that safety car came out almost instantly. So it must have been a great start by Grateful Dog there. As Trent is just approaching the back of the field now. It should see the safety car called in, and it is. Danger, not as much time to make a gap as he would get. But he is leading this race, and Danger probably would have breathed a sigh of relief with that safety car on lap 1. As he wouldn't have had to battle into turn 1 with Mahavir and Websy behind him. But it's all in the hands of Danger now. He's going to take us into lap 4, and hopefully we can get some proper racing underway here in Imola. Danger leaves it late, but he's off now. And it was a pretty good restart. Mahavir a little bit behind. And now under pressure from Websy as well. So as we go down that straight, and look at Grateful Dog on the restart as well. Absolutely flying along as Legum has retired. That might have been in the pit lane, I believe. And everyone through, and that's an Alpine of Wicked Moist going wide there. And he's lost the position to Guga, who's up into 7th. A great start from him. And as we continue through now, everyone holding station. And the Williams is off there of Mikey. Had a huge slide, and there's a huge gap between them and then 10th place Karubi. And Blackie is coming to the pits as well, so he might have received some damage. Not 100% sure. Trent Newton is absolutely flying through, though, battling with Jet Saraki now down the inside. He gets the job done. And a nice move there from the Ferrari, who's already made up a number of places. He's going to try and make up another one here on PS Bomber down the inside through the trees and makes a bit of contact. PS Bomber forced wide, and he's going to lose a place to Aiden there, but Trent muscles his way through into P12 and continues his charge up the field, wasting no time. In the meantime, Wicked Moist has gotten back past Guga into P7. So these midfield battles really heating up here, but we'll go to the leaders now as they make their way down the straight, and we'll see if there's going to be any overtaking opportunities because Mahavir is getting very close to Danger. Only 3/10 now. Websy holding his position in 3rd. And Mahavir just stays behind for the moment. Piastri Goat also closing in on Grateful Dog in the Haas, and he's got Keithy behind him, who's made a good start to this race. Had to think about a move, but stayed behind for now. PS Bomber also coming in for a pit stop. And Jet Saragi, the first driver to get a time penalty for exceeding track limits. PS Bomber goes on the medium tyres. Look how much closer Mahavir is to Danger and Websy. They've all closed up quite a bit. Very difficult part of the track to follow here, though, for Mahavir. So he's going to need to be committed. And he's done a pretty good job there as Piastri Goat has made a move past Grateful Dog through there. Very impressive. And now Keithy trying to have a go up the inside and follow Piastri Goat through, but he can't do it on this occasion. So to the end of lap 5 now. The top 3 have remained unchanged for this race, but could that be about to end? Because Mahavir will have DRS, so will Websy, and they're all very close to each other as they head down the main straight. And Mahavir gets that rear wing open and is now hunting for the lead of this race. Could he go for 3 wins in a row here? It's looking good at the moment because Mahavir takes the lead for the first time this race in that Haas car. And is he going to be able to run away with this one? Or can Danger and Websy hang on to the back of him? They look like the biggest competitors at the moment, but Mahavir is going to try and absolutely disappear off into the distance now. And we'll see if he is going to be successful in that. But Danger had 6 laps in the lead, and that's come to an end after qualifying on pole position by under a 10th. And Mahavir's already pulled out 5/10 and now 7/10. You can see the gap growing And Websy knows this might become quite urgent for him to get a move here on Danger, who's suddenly fallen off the pace quite a bit. 1.1 seconds behind now. Mahavir has been able to pull out that DRS gap on Danger, and there's a incident towards the back. Black here in the Sauber has dropped it somewhere. This is going to be crucial whether Danger can get DRS or not. I don't think he's going to have it, which means that Websy is going to have a huge opportunity to pass here, and he might need to pass given the current race pace of Danger. And look how close he is getting. Absolutely steps on it, does Websy, and makes his way past the McLaren into P2, gets the job done. Piastri Goat just had a thought there, but realised it probably wasn't the best decision. Ferrari's swapping around as well, so Trent now in the points and trying to force his way back. Guga in the Aston Martin is his next target in P9. But some pretty good races going on in the midfield here. Keithy is doing a good job, as well as Mikey, who had a good recovery off that start there. But Websy has been, as Websy goes off the track there quite a bit, and that's going to cost him time. He's taking gravel, and that is going to allow Danger back through. Is it all wheel to wheel? There could almost be 3 wide into the chicane here. Piastri could have done that, and now around the outside goes Danger and Websy, fighting hard for this position. Websy has the edge and the inside line here, but Danger is not going to let this one go. In the meantime, Mahavir has gone 3 seconds up the road as a result of this, and there's contact between Piastri Goat and Danger, and Piastri Goat is going to be able to get through. Is he? No, they both go off, and then the Mercedes of Keithy is going to be able to Steve Bradbury's way through into P3 and get past. Piastri Goat is going to try and fight him back. That was an incredible bit of battling there, and a bit of contact as well, but luckily, somehow, all the drivers still facing the right way, and there's someone off on the gravel there. I believe that was Piastri Goat. Oh no, it was Websy. Websy off onto the gravel. Keithy might be able to gain 4 places in the space of half a lap here. Almost had a go, but Websy all over the place at the moment. He's made a couple errors, but somehow has held on to P2. Danger followed all the way down to P6 there, and Wicked Moist has now joined this battle as well, but crucially, Mahavir 3.5 seconds up the road. Those mistakes there really costing this mid-pack here, who are trying to battle for the lead. And now Websy's got his work cut out for him, trying to chase Mahavir down, who all of a sudden looks in the box seats to claim his 3rd consecutive win. But this battle is really interesting. Keithy having an incredible run here in this race. Race pace on fire at the moment for the Mercedes. And he's setting himself up quite nicely to potentially take P2 off Websy now. The DRS is open. And look how close he is. He should be able to cruise past the Red Bull. And he does down the inside there. And Piastri Goat now having a look at Websy. And he backs out of it just. Websy stays very close behind Keithy. Piastri Goat could have made a move for the podium there. Decided against it. In the meantime, Aiden has just gotten past Guga, who seems to be struggling a little bit in P9 a couple laps ago, down to P12. Both Ferraris now into the points, and Aiden slowly fighting his way back up into this race as well. But this is the big pack up front, where the most battling seems to be taking place. Very good race from Grateful Dog so far as well, just keeping himself out of trouble. And the last few laps are any indication. To keep yourself out of trouble could be very beneficial to your end result. And look how close Websy is to Keithy. Keithy lost a second to Mahavir on this lap, who is absolutely flying away with this one at this stage. Websy, he might even have a go before the straight. Decides not to though. He's going to set up a move for the main straight as Guga gets a 3-second penalty. Second driver of the race to do so. Great exit out of the final quarter from Keithy there, but is that going to be able to keep Websy behind? I don't think so. And Keithy really makes him work for it. Wanted to block that inside, but Websy was adamant that he was going to take it and gets through. That could have been very, very close to an incident. Thankfully, no issues there though, and Websy takes back 2nd place. Mahavir, though, is still cruising out in front. And with Trent currently in P9, this could be a big swing in the championship points at the moment. It would cut his lead, Trent's lead, down to about 20-odd points. And with the 4 Mahavirs in at the moment, that could be disappearing very, very quickly. Danger very close behind Grateful Dog here. 2/10 the difference. Grateful Dog will have the benefit of DRS to defend, but is he going to be able to do it here with this massive pressure from behind? Let's have a look here as Keithy, in the meantime, might be eyeing off a move here, but he is a fair distance behind. And he won't be able to get it done. What about Danger? The DRS too strong, but in the meantime, Trent Newton is able to get past Mikey and continue his charge. He's only a couple seconds off the lead pack. And he's going to be right in and amongst the action very, very shortly if his pace continues. He's been on a mission. In last place at the end of lap 1, it was Trent. And now he's up into P8. So we're on to lap 11 now, and this is when drivers will start to think about their pit stops. See how good those hard tyres are. Let's have a look at Keithy. Websy has had a bit of a slide there in that final corner. Will that help Keithy to be able to make this move back into P2? He is gaining on that Red Bull now, and it looks pretty comfortable as Danger is the first driver. He must have been listening to me to pull the trigger and come into the pits. And he is going to try and undercut Grateful Dog, and maybe, if he's lucky, the rest of this pack. And Grateful Dog's also picked up a penalty while I wasn't paying attention, and Wicked Moist as well. So that is going to make life even easier for Trent, who's in a net P5 now as a result of that. Keithy goes into P2 now. Piastri Goat still stuck behind them two in P4. Let's see whereabouts Danger comes out. Has he got himself into a good gap? He has. He's got about 5 seconds of track in front of him. So we'll see how much time he's able to gain here. I suspect that at least a couple of this front pack will be coming to the pits, and Websy goes off the track onto the gravel, and Piastri Goat has made his way into P3, and now Grateful Dog could get past as well, and he does. So Websy, another moment there, and he falls down into P5. And the Red Bull not having the easiest of times out there, and maybe he might have to come into the pits because those tyres could be struggling. Let's see if anyone does it. What about Keithy? Piastri Goat, they both stay out. Websy is into the pits, and so's Wicked Moist, the Alpine. Most other drivers appear to be staying out. And in the meantime, Piastri Goat's gotten past Keithy. So Piastri Goat into P2 now. Down that main straight. Let's see how Websy goes compared to Danger. He's probably going to come out behind him here. And yeah, he will comfortably because of that mistake on the last lap. Danger absolutely flying as he makes his way past Jet Saragi in P11 now. Guga also coming out of the pits. Now he'll come back out in P15. Let's see what Mahavir does. It looks like he had a bit of gravel on his tyres there. Might have had a little bit of an off. And Danger has some serious pace at the moment. He's got to keep that in mind. Although he might not have even known he pitted if he wasn't paying close enough attention. But Danger will be catching quite quickly. And let's see if Mahavir goes in. No, he doesn't. He stays out another lap. He's going to have a bit of a tyre offset here. And both Piastri Goat and Keithy stay out as well. Move around the outside. And these two are just going to try and help each other along here I believe. Trent Newton only 3.5 seconds behind them as well. An incredible comeback up into P4 as Grateful Dog and Mikey now are the next drivers to pull the trigger. The Ferraris and Aiden both on hard, so they've got a little bit while longer to go on their stints. We'll see how long they can take those tyres. But enthralling strategy battle here in this race. Danger is still flying at the moment. Webbsy's 4 seconds behind him. But if we go to the leader gap, Danger is 27 seconds behind. It is a long pit stop here at Imola. Not sure of the exact length. But he could be approaching soon. If Mahavir is not careful, I'm sure he's pushing though. And Mahavir does stay out another lap. What about these two? They do stay out as well. Try to push those mediums as long as they possibly can. And then the two Ferraris as Piastri Goat now makes that move. And another exchange of places happens. Aiden also is catching up to Dr. Z Rift here. He's had a quietly good race, has Aiden after the start. Both Ferraris and himself were impacted by it. And Piastri Goat is the next driver to pick up a 3-second penalty. Could that be crucial for later on? And now Piastri Goat and Webbsy, two of the front runners, have picked up penalties. So advantage Mahavir and Keithy in danger at this stage. Danger also closely approaching his teammate in P8 at the moment. We're keeping an eye on his pace. Seems to be doing a bit of a better job down there in clean air. And this could be interesting when the top three come in and pit. Surely it's got to be soon. We're almost at half race distance. And yep, there it is. Mahavir into the pits. Piastri Goat and Keithy both go in. So all the top three are now in. Let's see where they come out compared to Danger. This could be nip and tuck here. As they all put the hards on. Mahavir coming out now. Danger just coming down the main straight. He's just going to be passing his teammate as he comes through. And I think he's going to be through here as Danger. Yes. Yes, he is. Comfortably as well. And Webbsy is going to be very close to Mahavir now too. So, Danger now in the net lead of this race. Actually, well, technically not, because none of the top three actually have to pit again if they don't want to, but I suspect they will. But this has brought Webbsy right back into this one. Grateful Dog has pitted out into traffic. Oh, sorry, not Grateful Dog. Piastri Goat has pitted, and Keithy have both pitted out into traffic. 2 cars in front. That is going to only increase that gap to Mahavir, but he's got a couple cars to get past. If Webbsy can just hang on to that DRS of Mahavir, he can fly all the way through here. But now Mahavir has got Danger's McLaren teammate of JT, who you'd suspect is going to defend this one a little bit harder than usual to try and protect his teammate, who is currently 3 seconds ahead, but Mahavir is gaining massively. And those old tyres are not going to be able to do much for the McLaren here. And Mahavir should just cruise past. Webbsy has fallen a little bit back here though. And he's at risk of losing Mahavir. He's not careful. In the meantime, Wicked Moist defending off. And Grateful Dog, Keithy and Oscar Piastri go wheel to wheel there. And they're still going, it looks like. Keithy is able to hang on to that position. Nicely done there, but Wicked Moist holding up these cars quite a bit now. And Webbsy gets past JT there in the McLaren, but has fallen 2 seconds behind Mahavir. So the battle now is between Danger and Mahavir, who is closely approaching. He'll probably be there at about a lap's time. 2 seconds the difference. 4 laps younger tyres and some seriously good pace. So Danger has already been overtaken once by him today. He's going to have to try and defend it again. And they are, and Aiden comes into the pits, as does Dr. Z Rift. And they're going to be switching onto the medium tyres. They might have a bit better pace. Oh no, the hards again actually. So I had 2 sets of hards, did Aiden and Rift there. Let's have a look at this battle. Look at all the cars there. And they all file into one line there as they enter the corner. And Keithy is able to make light work of JT there. Piastri got a little bit further behind, losing some time there. Oh, Keithy doesn't actually. The McLaren fights back pretty hard. And that's allowed Piastri Goat to catch right back up to Keithy, who's had a snap there out of the corner. That could hurt. But just hangs on for now. So Trent 10 seconds clear of Danger. Let's see how long he tries to hang this out. As Mahavir now is within DRS range of Danger. Some hard work here for the McLaren coming up. If he wants this race win, he's going to have to defend it with his life here. And in the meantime, Trent now comes into the pit. So this is now for the proper lead of the race. Mahavir closing in massively. I'm not sure how much Danger can do here to defend. And he doesn't do too much to defend there. Mahavir is back in the lead of the race. Far younger tyres, far quicker tyres, and ripping pace as well. Makes life very difficult for Danger there, who is just thinking about the overall race here. He's trying to secure that P2. And after those pit stops, Trent, Aiden and Rift fall back down into 10th, 11th and 12th respectively. But they will have those fresher tyres. They should be able to at least close up to the top 6 or 7 here. As Mikey is able to get past that McLaren, is still running those very old hard tyres. And off onto the gravel he goes. And has a bit of a brush with the wall, and nearly takes out Trent. That was a very unsafe rejoin. And yeah, gets a 10-second penalty. And fair enough for that. Should have seen Trent coming from behind. That was very, very close to race over for the Ferrari there. And it has allowed Aiden to get through there. So the Mercedes will be happy with that. Up into P9. And I'm sure Trent will be absolutely fuming at what's just happened there. As Keithy makes his way into P4 now past Wicked Moist, who's having a very good race in that Alpine. And he's got pressure behind as Trent now makes his way back through on Aiden. Let's have a look at, everyone's on the hard tyres now. We'll have a look at the penalty situation for a bit. And to make matters worse for JT, there has another 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Piastri Goat has made a move there on Grateful Dog into P6. So still fighting hard. The podium is still anyone's for the taking here. Could depend largely on penalties as JT now retires from the race. And that moment there has cost him any opportunity of a solid result there. So it's now down to 16 left in this one. Piastri now chasing after Wicked Moist in that Alpine, who's got a little bit older tyres on now. And you'd think he'd be able to get this job done pretty comfortably. And there he goes to the outside. And into P5 goes the Aston Martin. And the Alpine demoted to P6 there. So a bit of a gap starting to form. Little groups here. Mahavir in a league of his own at the moment. And then Websy There's a little bit of space to Keithy behind, but it looks like he's gaining on him a little bit. And then there's this group of Piastri Goat, Wicked Moist, and Grateful Dog. And that's a Sauber who's nearly run into the Alpine there. And Webbsy's picked up another 3 seconds. That's 6 for the race now. So Keithy in a net P3 at this stage. He'd definitely take that result at this moment in time. And yeah, Mikey having a pretty solid run down there in P8. Trent's picked up a 10 seconds. I'm not sure what for. I'm suspecting he should be able to get it removed though. I think that might have been involving the incident with JT earlier. And then Aiden rounding out that top 10 at this stage of the proceedings. So we'll go back to this pack as Grateful Dog now makes that move past Wicked Moist into P6. And the order is restored. There's a moment, it's Webbsy. Webbsy is out of the race. And it's at turn 3. That is a huge moment in this race. From P3 to out is Webbsy. I don't think it's going to cause a safety car. It's not, which is a relief for a number of the drivers, especially the top 3 here. But that's a great result for Keithy. He's up into P3, but Webbsy unfortunately out of this one. So Red Bull with a double DNF there. Not a great result for the team. In the meantime, Danger 4 seconds behind Mahavir. And then Keithy's another 5 back, but he's got a decent gap to Piastri Goat, who also has a penalty. So this podium looking pretty comfortable at the moment, barring any late drama. In the meantime, Trent's starting to catch up on Mikey now, who was running a bit of a lonely race, but he's got a bit of pressure from behind now. And Trent just a bit too far back on this occasion, but he's going to be hassling that Williams all the way through here, as we have 9 laps to go in this one. So just 15 drivers left in the race this afternoon. We started with 20, but we've lost a few. And now the battle for the points is on for young and old, as Trent continues to chase Mikey down. And then he'll have about another 4 seconds until he can catch up to that group of Wicked Moist, Grateful Dog and Piastri Goat. And Trent now lining up a move down this main straight. Aiden is also not far behind. This has been one of the more intriguing battles of this race. Trent versus Aiden, Ferrari versus Mercedes. Mercedes winning the day so far in terms of points, but still a lot more to be gained as Trent now moves his way into 7th. Can Aiden have a look at a move as well? He's not going to. He doesn't want Trent to go away too quickly. Now Keithy's got a penalty, and Piastri Goat as well. Piastri Goat increases his penalty count to 6 seconds. Keithy now up to 3 in this race. Danger and Mahavir have remained penaltyless throughout this whole race, which is a very impressive effort given what we've seen from the rest of the field so far. Aiden now struggling to get past Mikey, who should have the DRS benefit from Trent in front this lap as well. So this is going to help Trent get a bit of breathing space. And this is pretty much the only battle going on track at the moment. So we'll keep our eyes on this. And now as we head to the DRS straight, Aiden is close, but not close enough given they both have DRS. And Trent is now going to try and absolutely fly off into the distance. He's about 8/10 clear of Mikey, who is going to be desperate for a points finish. He should be able to get P10 at the absolute least, as Karubi and P11 are almost a pit stop behind. And now Goog with another 3 seconds. So drivers lower down the field struggling to keep the car on the track. And Aiden struggling to find a way past Mikey, proving to be quite a difficult task for overtaking. Is that Williams? And in the meantime, Mahavir 5 seconds clear, 7 laps remaining. Has this one fully under control at this stage. And Danger would be very happy with the P2 result here. And then you got, and PS Bomber is out, that's in the pits. So that won't have any effect on the race, thankfully. So now let's have a look here. Main straight once again. Mikey's still hanging on to Trent, which adds another lap of pain for Aiden. And we were once 15 drivers, we are now 14 drivers. Those 4 outside of the points are going to have to hope for a bit of luck here if they want to snag a points finish this afternoon. Just hasn't been their day. As Mikey now gets his first 3 second penalty of the race, and we're having to work a bit harder to defend from Aiden, who's pushing now that Trent has pulled that gap. Yeah, you can see Mikey struggling. He went off there. So this last lap in particular has been tough for the Williams, and Aiden now has a wide open opportunity to take P8 off him. But the unfortunate news for him is his race-long rival Trent has already escaped 2.5 seconds up the road, so he's going to have to really reel him in. Here comes Aiden now, DRS open. Mikey really pushing hard to defend, but not much can be done, or can it? No, not on this occasion. Mikey did try. And Piastri go with yet another 3 second. Really struggling with those track limits. He's up to 9 now. Is he missing an end plate? Just wait till the camera cuts. Yeah, he is. He does have damage, Piastri Goat. So that explains why the struggles are happening, as Trent now makes his way into P6. And all of a sudden he's got Grateful Dog not too far ahead. And then Piastri Goat as well. So a P4 could still be on here for Trent, assuming he gets that 10 second removed. But yep, lots of drivers struggling with penalties now. Only 3 left without a penalty for the race. That's Aiden, Danger and Mahavir. And now just 4 laps remaining. As Trent is going to be chasing down Grateful Dog. The chase continues. Trent was all the way down in P18, lost his front wing on the first lap through no fault of his own, but now he is absolutely charging back into this one. And if he's able to continue his way up the field, it could be a driver of the day worthy performance from the Ferrari driver. Aiden's still stuck down in P9 at this stage. He's fallen back behind Mikey. So not sure what happened to the Mercedes there, but he's going to have to repass. Trent now getting really close. He might make a move into the chicane here. Backs out of it. He does want to put some pressure on Grateful Dog here, though. He does get a great exit out of the chicane. And he's able to pull a bit of time to Trent. And Grateful Dog will defend this hard, because he'll be thinking with Trent with that 10-second penalty, he's got to make sure he stays behind him. But I don't think there's going to be much a Haas driver can do, unfortunately, except watch as he sails past, and P5, Trent continues his way up the order, and his next target, Piastri, go 2.7 seconds up the road. But the laps are running thin for Trent now. Looks like that podium is all but set at this stage. Just these middle points positions that need to be sorted out. But this is a good day for Mahavir and his championship hopes. If the standings stay as they are, or if the results stay as they are, Mahavir will cut that lead down. Let's see. It'll be 29 points will be the difference. So that is a big difference, a big change to the standings. And Trent will be looking in his rearview mirrors very nervously as he sees Mahavir charging into this championship fight in what has been a flawless performance. Danger had a miracle lap to get himself onto pole position, and he also drove a very good race. But Keithy has suddenly really caught up to the back of Danger, and he's going to really put some pressure on here late in the race. He wants to try and snag a P2. He does have a penalty, but if he can make the pass, anything can happen here late on. So we'll see. And also Danger is done very well to go penalty-less for this race, but could this pressure behind force him into a mistake potentially? He's very, very close now, he's Keithy. You should be able to make the pass here. It might now just be a matter of how much time can he gain over the last couple of laps. We are now on the penultimate lap as Keithy goes to the outside. He's got the DRS, and this is a move for P2. And a very good job from Keithy, who started the race standing P8. And he's up into P2, but he's, with the penalty, he's going to demote him back to P3 unless he can pull something off here. It's 5/10 the difference to Danger, and he's got a lap and a half to somehow stretch it to 3 seconds. He's really got to hope on a Danger mistake, but look at that. He's pulled out to almost a second now. Danger really struggling at the end of this one. A lapped car is in front of Keithy, and that is Karubi, I believe. So hopefully they make way. This could be handy for Keithy. He could get a dose of DRS though from the Sauber as we enter the final lap of this race just about. And there we go. So Keithy is going to get DRS, and he's 1.2 ahead of Danger, but he does get DRS as well from the Sauber, I'd suspect. So the race is on. 1.5 seconds in a lap for Keithy. He has pulled it out. In the meantime, Trent has moved past Piastri Goat into P4. So that is a great move from the Ferrari, and if he finishes P4, that is a fantastic result. And now Keithy pushing as hard as he possibly can to try and pull that 3-second gap back. But I think it might just be a little bit too steep at this stage. In the meantime, we're down to the final half a lap, and Mahavir has been all alone, unchallenged in the lead ever since he took it on lap 5. After the safety car has driven absolutely flawlessly and is now coming up to the final sets of corners. And the Mahavir dominance will continue in ORL here. This is going to be for back-to-back-to-back victories 3 races this season for Mahavir, and it is now a perfect 3 for 3. No one can stop him at the moment, and he gets the job done. And quickly we move to Keithy because he's got a 2.8 second gap and climbing. It's 2.9. Can he get it? It's close. Danger just gets P2 by less than a tenth of a second. Keithy had it on the track, but Danger just hangs on despite a very late charge from Keithy. Trent P4 on the track, but gets demoted due to his 10-second penalty. And Aiden slots in there for provisionally, but I think Trent might be able to get his penalty removed. And then it's Grateful Dog. Then comes Trent, then Piastri Goat. Mikey in P8. Dr. Z Riff P9, and Wicked Moist rounds out the points. But a dominant display from Mahavir to win by 10 seconds in the end. It was a fantastic effort. And from start to finish, just looked in control. Was rarely challenged despite that danger pole lap. And he'll be very, very pleased with that victory, that's for sure. But there will be plenty to be spoken of about that lap 1 incident. That's definitely certain, as that impacted about 7 or 8 drivers there, pretty much anyone out of the top 10. But Trent, who was involved in that, has recovered very well, and definitely my driver of the day for that effort. All the way down in P18 in lap 5, when the safety car came in, finishes P4. That is a really good result. Or P6 provisionally, but if he does get that penalty removed. Aiden and Keithy both drove brilliant races as well. Hats off to them. But the winner of the day was Mahavir, and he continues to close that championship gap. And as I mentioned, those drivers up front, they're going to be a little bit nervous now, as Mahavir is coming for his 2nd championship title in ORL. So we'll see what's to come. And that'll be all for the stream this afternoon. Thank you once again for joining us. We've got Silverstone next week, which is sure to be an absolute cracker of a race. And for this evening, it is goodbye for now. I've been your host, Jamin075. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Saturday night for Tier 2.